Could you please explain how countries in Southeast Asia became part of the Indosphere and how Singapore became demographically Chinese? Why are there efforts to destroy evidence of ancient Hindu roots in countries like Malaysia? Okay, multiple questions. We'll focus on the main thing. Essentially, two questions. How did countries in Southeast Asia become part of the Indosphere? That process began more than 3,000 years ago. It began with trade activities. You see, the east coast of India, we have forgotten about it completely. Let's go to the map. We have completely forgotten the east coast of India and what it has contributed to our culture, civilization, and history. So let's look at the east coast of India. I am talking about Kalinga, now called Odisha. The northern part of Odisha is called Utkal, right? What is Utkal? It's Uttar Kalinga. Kalinga has this incredibly ancient, incredibly rich history as part of India, as a subset of Indian civilization. So merchants from Kalinga were trading with Southeast Asia, which was called Suvarna Bhumi at the time. At least 2000 years ago, it was called Suvarna Bhumi. So merchants from Kalinga were crossing the ocean on ships and going all the way to Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia and Vietnam, also obviously Thailand, Indonesia, etc. They were trading with these regions at least 3,000 years ago, if not more than that. And slowly, this caused the Indianization and Hinduization of the entirety of Southeast Asia. About 2,000 years ago, Indonesia became Hindu. I mean, it was Hindu. All of this entire region, present day Indonesia, Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, Vietnam, Laos, uh, Myanmar, I said, Philippines, all of this was Hindu. And much of this region has been Hindu for more than 2,000 years, maybe around 3,000 years. All because of the merchants from Kalinga who would go and trade with these countries, and these countries slowly adopted Indian customs, and they formed great kingdoms and empires in their own right. So that is what happened. That's how this region became part of the Indosphere. We never ever imposed anything on the people of this region. There was never any religious conversion. There was never any conquest except the Chola conquest, which was a geopolitical affair, not anything else. So that is the deal. Now, what about Singapore? So Singapore is over here at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula. What happened to Singapore? Obviously, it's called Singapore, right? The city of lions. It's a Sanskrit name. So obviously, it was Hindu in the past. So what happened? Why is it demographically Chinese? I mean, today Singapore has a Chinese majority. What happened is the question. How did that happen? A city that's that's at the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula. How is it majority Chinese? You see, this region came under British occupation about a couple of around the 19th century. Okay, so in the first quarter of the 19th century, the British established colony in Singapore, let's say, and they imported Chinese labor. They imported Chinese labor there, and we discussed some of the biggest wars that have happened earlier in this episode. The Taiping rebellion and the Dungan revolt and all that. So all of that caused a tremendous amount of instability in China in the middle of the 19th century. So that caused a bigger exodus of Chinese out of China elsewhere. Many of them came to Singapore, and the British imported Chinese specifically. So over time, the Chinese population of Singapore grew from like negligible levels to 10%. Then eventually, slowly, over by the end of the 19th century, the Chinese became the majority population in Singapore. So that's how Singapore became gradually demographically Chinese majority. That is how it happened. Um, well, about Malaysia, well, it's an Islamic country, so well, that's how it goes.